What's up? We are going back on this Pokemon battle scene builder today. We are kind of in the home stretch, I think. We've done the functional requirements, and in the last episode, we got into some of the design stuff where I basically rambled on about all these design tools that I use. I didn't do much designy work myself, besides what you'll see here in a moment. Booyah, look at this beautiful thing that we're working on. In the last episode, we pretty much focused a little bit on, obviously not design stuff to make it look good, but more design stuff in terms of managing design assets such as design tokens, so colors, typographies, things like that. I think just color and typography is what we worked on. I'm not using a design tool for this to like lay out and prototype the app, so we're kind of doing it in the browser on the fly. But it's going all right, or at least the folks on the stream, on the last stream, said it was looking cool. But whether they're yanking my chain or not, I don't know. But I'm just gonna keep doing me, and we're doing this. Obviously, this is inspired by the Pokemon colors, or the Pokemon entity, Pokemon project, I don't know. But the colors from Pokemon. So we've got some reds and some yellows. We have some blues as well, at least in our styles, although not actually in our app right now. So yeah, we've got some blue and yellow are the main ones for the brand. And we've got some red, which is taken from the Pokemon like Pokédex thing. We've got some green that we didn't take from Pokemon, but we grabbed that as an eventual success color that we'll probably want. And that's as far as we got. So actually, before I get into too much of the design stuff today, I wanted to look at this app input thing a bit. No, app input is fine. I wanted to look at, actually, no, what was that? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know I could do that. Control-Shift-I. It's probably because I have a extension for that. But what I wanted to look at was this V input. So we were looking at this the other day because this was taken from the library, and instead of using the library's version, we did some bug fixes. And I want to, well, the bugs are fixed. I want to expand on how this can be used. So this is going to take some rewriting. First of all, okay, first is the easy part. Right now, let's modify this a bit. So in app, I want to show that I can have, the settings form is fine. Before that, I think we're going to go here and show how the input can have, let's see, options. And options needs to be an array, which means we need to bind to it in order for that to accept dynamic content or like JavaScripty content. And it can have like A, B, right? Those are my options. And if I do that, I think it's not really going to show a whole lot. We've got our input there. Let's give it a label equals hey, and we'll give it a name equals hey. Sure. Now we won't have the console yelling at us, which I think it did a moment ago with the label and the name, required props. And now for the options to work, we actually want to set a type. So type equals radio, and we can also do type equals select. What is all this? Volar, okay, get out of the way. Highlighting, yeah, okay, not worried about that. So we've got two options here. We've got the select boxes, and we've got the select, and we've got the radio. And what I want to do is make it possible to change these settings. So instead of taking an object, it will take, or instead of taking an array, it will take an object. So right now it's fine as array. I want this to also be able to accept, let's do this, and let's do that. And we'll say this one and this one and this one need to be able to accept an object with A of A and B or B of B. So this is what we currently support. This is what I would like to support. Not because A and B is interesting, but because we might want to do something. Let me make this more practical. We'll say like A is some key, and this we want to be some key. So we might want a label that looks different than the value, right? Where some key would be the value. So let's look at that. If we open this today, we're going to get options.map is not a function. And that's because in our input, we are accepting the options as a prop. Prop down here, we get options, which defaults to an array. And if, let's see, down here, we do some manipulation on those options. So, yep, this .options.map. So what I think I might do is grab options from this. I think I might just change this to let. No. What am I working on today? Right now, I want to expand this V input component, just add a little bit of a feature so that we're doing a little bit that's not directly related to the app right now. I want to expand some features on this V input to make it a little bit more flexible. So essentially right now what I'm doing is this works fine, and I want to support this syntax as well, because I think key value might be helpful. So yeah, I'm gonna say let options equal this dot options, and then I'm gonna say if array dot is array options. Do I want that? No. I'm gonna say if what is it? If instance of options equals object, then yeah, that's kind of what I want to do here. This tune is a banger. Yeah, you got that right. Some of them, man, some of these, this playlist comes through and you're just like, oh man, it's on. Let's do this. Okay, so what are we doing now? Yes, this is what I want. What's up, folks? Okay, so if the options that we pass in is an instance of an object, then we want to manipulate it into an object that looks like the value is the key and the label. I mean, keys is fine, but I can also just do entries, and then I will have a parameter with the key and the value, I believe, which is going to be confusing. Oops, I have this wrong. No, I want object.entries of options, and then I want this to take the key and the value. Did you add your semicolons yet? Question mark, question mark. Oh man, here we go again. You know it's only Monday. You can't wait until, my Wednesday stream to give me crap. Just got to get on it right at the beginning of the week. I'm on the sound different today. Do I? Sounds similar, but tunes are much louder. Yeah, the tunes are louder. I put it up because I was feeling it. How was this? Any better? So did everyone come over from Brent's stream a second ago, or did y'all raid, or what? What's up, B? I didn't get any raid notification. Just coming by. Wow, I'm so honored that y'all came from separate corners of the world onto this platform. You came in from a notification. Notifying that someone out there in the world is not using semicolons, and this must be righted. The music is painful. Hey, you don't talk crap on my chiptunes, all right? This channel here is all about chiptunes. We are an open, welcoming space for people that like chiptunes. Oh man, what is going on? I don't know what's going on. My external monitor just died, so that's great. And my camera. Okay, everything's back. I wonder if I got hacked. My mouse died the other day. The mouse that I use on the last stream, last Friday, this thing stopped working. I was switching between the mouse pad on my laptop. I was coding like this. I was using my hand over here on the touchpad and my left hand on the keyboard down here. It's no good. Not about the type of music. I didn't do anything. I'm telling y'all, I got hacked. Yeah. All right, Stony Eagle, you're on for the next genre of music. Let's hear it. What do you got? Actually, I can't be too liberal with my genre of music because I think I need to pick from sorry, we're not gonna be able to put your Britney Spears playlist on because I don't have rights to play Britney Spears music as much as I'm sure you would love that. But we have some options here. Let me see what I can get you. Okay, we've got lo-fi, synthwave, electronic, hip hop. We've got hype tracks, more lo-fi, chill step, hi-fi, chill study lo-fi beats, sleep chill, land on lo-fi planet. What is all this? Too much lo-fi. How about late night study vibes or beach chill? Stony Eagle could be a beach chill person. Got chill instrumentals, lushy lo-fi, inner zen collection. All right. Or we've got the best one, chiptune, ambient, good vibes. Anything standing out? Synthwave. What do we got? Okay. It's good now. If you turn it up some, okay, let's turn it way up then. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know what was going on, but I'm glad it's fixed. But if y'all want some different music, just throw one of those genres I listed. It looks like we've got like 100 different lo-fi options, or some hi-fi, or some hip-hop, or synthwave. So if any of that sounds good, let me know. I'm open to switching it up today. But anything but hip-hop, that's only about sexes and bitches. Yeah, I think it's mostly instrumental. It's no lyrics. But why would you want to get off of this? I mean, it feels like I'm in a dungeon. That's not rap. That's bad lyrics. Oh man, we got some heat on the chat going on today. Stony Eagle coming in trying to start a fight with semicolons versus not semicolons, only to be taken on by music genre preferences. I have semicolons. You know why I have semicolons? I think I actually prefer semicolons, but I don't like to write them. And this component is from a library that's like a different project. So it must have semicolons configured for the auto formatting. What's the goal today? The goal is to convince Stony Eagle that semicolons don't really matter. No, so I'm starting with a quick little goal today of being able to accept both array type options in this V input component. So array type options and object type options. So that's my first little goal. After that, we'll get back into some design stuff, or trying to figure out how to make this thing look a little bit more interesting, more Pokemonized. And then, it'd be cool. I wonder if there is a Pokemon font family. If I could use that for the title, that would be cool. Ooh, that's close, but that's also pretty terrible. It's like often just the wrong way. Pokemon. Okay, this is looking closer. There you go. That's the one that I want. Pokemon Solid. Let's see what this looks like. Stony Eagle is a turd. How do you like that? It's right there. It's on the internet, so you know it's official. This font is so whack though. It's like just wrong in not quite. It's right in just kind of the wrong way. Anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. So what I want to do, real quick before we get going too far, is I really want to support this syntax on this V input component. So because I think array is cool, but key value is also pretty nice. So it's a pretty simple solution. We accept options as a prop, which defaults to an array. But then what we actually use in the template is a computed property called computed options. So what I can do is that basically takes the array and maps over it and turns it into an array. It turns it into an array of options with a label, a value, and checked. And what I need to do is take the object syntax. Burned! That's right. Stony Eagle turd. Love it. Man, that's actually cool that you have an emoji combination for your username. I mean, cool in like some sense of the word. Okay, if instance of options is an object, then we want to loop over the entries. So that's going to be the key value pairs as a two-dimensional array. And we're going to grab the key and the value, and then confusingly enough, we're going to say that the value is the key, and then the label is the value, which I understand should be Shamrock. Nice. Shamrock Eagle. No, I don't think I get that. We'll throw that on the chat, though. Oh, Stony as in weed. Got it. Stoned Eagle. Why not Stoned Eagle? You can stone 2 eagles with 1 weed. All right, did I fix it? Looks like I made it even worse. Unexpected token instance of. What? If. Oh, duh. That's not the right syntax. If object is an or if options is an instance of object. That's the syntax. Okay. Yeah, okay. I got that right now. Let's do that. Let's reload. And hopefully, yes, we see that our options work correctly for the radio input, where the name. Okay, the label is some key. The value is some key. This label should not be there. That's really annoying. Item label. Why is there a label on? Oh, right. That's annoying. Oh, Stony Maloney. Call me Eagle instead of Stony. Right. Well, I'm glad that these streams are recorded, so there's certain things that I can't show that's going on in the chat and cannot repeat for the sake of posterity. Okay, but it looks like we got it. We have a little extra, like, one thing that's kind of annoying is we have an extra HTML attribute here where the label is also appended. And I think I'm just going to be too lazy to modify that because, well, the chat is, yeah. But it's also like it gets uploaded to YouTube and the chat doesn't get put there. So it's fine. I can look like a fool over here and look professional over there. Although I guess by calling myself a fool, I just kind of defeated the purpose. But that's okay. Okay, so why we have an issue is because on this field set, the type is radio, and then we're looping over each thing, and then we're just binding the option itself. I'm just going to leave it. We'll get onto it. Not on YT, though. That's right. So the radio looks like it's working now. Now we can pass in a more interesting, easily pass in a more interesting label while the value is still the, let's see. While the value here is still the like JavaScript key syntax. And then on the selects, it looks like we have the same thing with the option in there with a value of some key and a label of some key. Perfect. So that's done. Stony Eagle, just relentless. Just relentless. Can't catch a break. Okay, that's going to be it for this. I think I successfully added a nice, easy way. I guess the cool thing about that is just highlighting that if you ever have an object and you need to loop over it, here's some JavaScript. Here's some JavaScript. If you have an object of like A is 1, B is 2, and you ever want to loop over these somehow, why am I getting this? This is just annoying. Let's go here. So, and you ever want to loop over these, there's a number of ways to do it, but a handy way is you can use object dot, well, a number of things. You can do object.keys, and that will give you the keys of the object. So in this case, we would have an array with A and B. Yeah. Is that going to tell me what? Whatever. Yeah, so you can loop over the keys and you'd have A and B. You can loop over the values where you would get the number 1 and 2, or the one that I kind of like is entries, because with entries, then you would get, let's see, you would get something that looks like this. Well, yeah, basically what GitHub Copilot did for us. A two-dimensional array where the first value in each entry is the key, and the second item in each entry is the value. Pretty cool. There's other ways to loop over objects as well, but that's what I'm doing there because I need an array at the end of the day. So that's why I chose that. All right, let's look at some more design stuff. So what we got into last stream was getting this to be a little bit more pokified. There's a cool thing that's worth sharing with y'all about design. Little hot tip on designing radiuses is, let me zoom way in here. Okay, cool. So you may notice on a lot of designs that you will want like nested border radiuses, right? So if we look here, this little doodad has a border radius of 0.25 rem. And if we look at its container element, it has a border radius of 0.25 rem. For let key value equal object.entries. Yeah, you could do that as well. If you wanted to use a for loop, yes. I would probably do like a for in though. What is it? Yeah, so you can do like for, what is it? Const, I guess the key in object. Then this, yep, you'd want to do this syntax. So then you would say you have like const value equals object at key. So now you have the key and the value. The only gotcha with a for in loop. So this is for dot 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 in. The only gotcha with this is vulnerable to prototype pollution vulnerabilities. And it's really hard to explain this. I don't even know if I could do it properly, but essentially you could have something where you have like const o equals some object, right? Or equals some object. And then you could say, yeah, I don't even know if I can't explain it off the top of my head, but essentially JavaScript has a way of inheriting from prototypes. So like, let's say O is some object, right? And then const O2, I'm just going to pseudocode this. O2 inherits from O's prototype. And so far you're good. You're safe. But if what can happen is after you've instantiated this was supposed to be O2 object, after you've instantiated it, what can happen is you can modify the O prototype. And because O2 inherits from the same prototype, you can effectively change the prototype of O2. Now, still, we don't really have a problem here unless someone modifies the O2 prototype and changes .toString to a new function that, like, I don't know, makes an API request or inserts malware, right? So now all of a sudden on the O2 object, there is this method called toString because it inherited that from the object. It's its parent object. And if toString gets overwritten, because you can modify the behavior of a prototype's methods, if it gets overwritten, then suddenly O2's toString prototype method is now vulnerable to this issue. All of this to say that if you wanted to loop over the items in this object, you have to do this like syntax called, I just did it a moment ago. Come on, do the thing. No, not going to do it for me. Okay. So you have to do this thing where you do, if, there it is, object has own property. So this determines if the property exists on the object, which sounds counterintuitive because after all, you're looping over the properties in the object. But something prototypal pollution can cause it to like loop over additional properties in the object that you don't expect to be there. So you need to call object.hasOwnProperty. But then that raises the question, what happens if hasOwnProperty itself has been modified, right? So what you need to do, in fact, is say if the object, so you say object.prototype, let me get rid of all this stuff. If object.prototype dot hasOwnProperty. Yep. So this is how you do it. If the object.prototype.hasOwnProperty, object.prototype.hasOwnProperty cannot be modified. So this will always behave as it's intended, which you can see on MDM. People give PHP shit. Good call. I mean, they both have their benefits, right? And they both have their quirks. So I'm not going to get in a fight about this. So, but anyway, and also this is just one of the many ways to loop. So I'm just pointing out one of the caveats to looping over something this way. But you can say, I'm going to loop over each key in the object. And then let's say I'm going to do it this way. If not, object prototype has own property, and then you use the call method to call this method, but in the context of this object. And then the next parameter is the parameter that you would want to call. So this is loosely equivalent to, if not, yeah, something like this. These two are loosely equivalent, except that this version is kind of vulnerable to that prototype method overriding. This version is not vulnerable to it. But it just, because we're using call, it's expecting you to pass in which object you want to call this method on. And then both take this like parameter. So that's the first parameter, and that's treated as the first parameter here. So I can come into any JavaScript that exposes an object that inherits from and change the prototype being used and fuck with it. So you could technically do something like const o equals an object, and then you could say o dot to string equals a function that returns like something, right? So let's actually look at this in actual code. So we're going to say const o equals some object, and then o dot to string is going to return this string of object, right? And then I'm going to say o dot to string equals a function that returns Stony Eagle is a turd. And then we're going to call o dot to string one more time. And instead of the original functionality of that method, we've now modified it, right? But if I say object dot to string, object dot prototype dot to string. So now we're referencing like the global object constructor object, and we're grabbing the prototype, and then we're grabbing the method off of that, and then we're using the JavaScript call function to say, well, we actually want to call this method on this object. And it doesn't take any parameters, so we don't need to pass another parameter. So we can see that we can get the original functionality, even though there has been a
prototype pollution there. Yeah, don't modify prototypes is the answer. But defensive programming dictates that it is possible that someone else modifies the object, so we do it kind of the safe way, right? Yeah, so that's why we do that, because once again, if we say O dot A equals 1, right? And I can say O dot has own property of A, it's going to return true. But then once again, if I say O dot has own property B, we'll get false. But then if I say O dot has own property equals a function that always returns true, now I've kind of messed up how this could work. So in my code, if I were to have said O dot has own property B, suddenly that vulnerability can get through. If you modify the global prototypes to pretend to do the same, but does extra stuff behind the scenes, I don't think you can modify. Let me see. Object dot. This is what you're saying. Prototype dot has own property, or let's say toString, right? Equals function. Okay, and then we say const o2 equals some object, and we say o2 dot toString. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. That does seem weird, but I don't know any further to be able to answer about protecting against that, or whether that even can happen in a normal JavaScript application, or when that might happen. All I can speak to right now is the difference between calling object.hasOwnProperty and using this syntax to say a more secure way of checking whether the object actually has that key. Yeah. I don't think you want to actually modify global APIs. So yes, you could modify fetch and have it do other things behind the scenes. Like maybe you want it to automatically read something from, like, look for a key in local storage and constantly, or every time you call fetch, it appends that to the request or something. I probably wouldn't do that. Instead, you could make an API that uses fetch under the hood and does that for you. Yeah, you want the bearer to be sent by default, of course, and the bearer token is coming from local storage or something like that. So, this is going to get a bit wild now. I'm torn between writing it in a file so it's easy to use, or we're just writing it in the console because that's convenient. So what I would generally do is, I mean, why don't you just have a function that's like function my fetch takes, URL and options, and returns, like, you can say const headers equals whatever. Oops. Bearer, or no, it's like what, author. It's like authorization is, and then it's like bearer dot whatever. And then you would do something like options equals dot options And then headers would be something like ... or what was it? What would it be? This is annoying. Well, yeah, I guess I can get it. Okay, this is going to be annoying because this isn't the syntax I would actually use, but this is just a quick and dirty way that actually works. The issue I have is that Vite.js and its HSL program is really quirky and doesn't work as it should, or they tell me it should. HLS. My cam is frozen. Yeah, I'm having some technical issues today. Anyway, y'all aren't missing anything with my cam being frozen. I mean, maybe some sweet serif mustache, but what I would do, yeah, so you can do syntax that would actually work is options dot headers or something like that. I don't know if that works, but if that is there, we destructure it, the option headers. Yeah, that should work. And then you would do, oops, dang it. Let me see. So maybe you would do ... your own headers, right? And then any headers that are passed in from the options, that way it can be overridden. And then you close that, you close the options, and then you return fetch passing the URL and the options, right? Something like that. So then you could say my fetch, I don't know, //austingill.com. And this way it basically uses fetch under the hood. Yeah, of course. That's great. Yeah. So it uses fetch under the hood and it kind of does the work that you're asking it to do. And you could have it do that work on each time you request it, right? So that I don't really know the context in which you're modifying fetch or how you're modifying fetch, but I think it's generally a better practice not to modify global APIs because the big problem with that is as you work on teams, that becomes tribal knowledge that if other members of the team aren't aware what's going on with a global API that they expect to work a certain way and it behaves slightly different, you could get yourself into trouble. But you need to override all the fetch APIs that are being used, and you're not getting it done. So it's like a large project, and you want to modify the global fetch. Yeah, I can see that justification to just say I don't have control over everywhere that fetch is being called. So rather than try and control that, just modify fetch. And what I would say is instead of having a function that modifies fetch like that, I would probably abstract it into a file called like API calls or something like that. That way, instead of calling fetch directly or even a function that wraps fetch, you're using a module to interface with an API call. That also makes it easier to like for writing tests, you can mock out what that API like module does, and then your components kind of behave the same. You want to lock your file share. Yeah, okay, I've seen your video player. You want to lock your file share behind a bearer token, but you need all the fetch to send them. Yeah, but if all of your components, I mean, assuming you're using components, yeah, because you told me it was with React, I think, right? So assuming that you're using components, instead of them all interfacing directly with APIs through fetch, you could have a module that handles all of the network requests. And then all your components have to do is import that module, call the method that it's expecting, and get the response. Because it's a video player and you don't have control over that code base. Got it. So you can't, even with a module, you can't tell the video player to use that. Yeah, that's ugly. That's ugly. So I'm gonna move on because I don't have an answer for that. That just kind of sucks. Okay, getting back to the sort of design tip that I was working on before. So we were looking at these border radiuses, right? And one, you can modify the code in node modules, but there's one problem with that. Yeah. No, I think there is a way to tell npm that you can do like a monkey patch over a node module and say, hey, when you try and import this file from this module, use this local one instead. I haven't done it myself. That's as far as I've just heard of it. So that's all the information I have, but it's worth looking into something like that. Okay, so moving on. We're good. We're moving on. This little design, border radius design trick that you may be interested in is when you when you have two nested borders, you see how here they kind of like, it's kind of at an angle, like they're the same radius, and it's kind of this weird like relationship that they have. What actually looks really nice is if we were to take this doodad and say your border radius is going to be, I'm just going to do it in pixels, like so 16 pixels. That's too much. But I think you want something like 12 pixels there. So now what we've got is the border radius here has sort of a similar relationship to this border radius, or as the circle gets bigger, as we step further away from this radius, we're still following an arc that shares the same center point with this inner radius. I hope that makes sense. But here what we're looking at is 1/4 of a circle, right? On this top left border radius is 1/4 of a circle. And if you connect the edges of it, you'll get to the very center of the circle, because that's where the radius center would be. So what you want is, if we leave this outer border radius with the same border radius as the inner one, the center of this circle is like way out here, right? I hope that I'm making sense here. But the center of this border radius is here, or the center of this semicircle is here. The center of this inner semicircle is here. To make them look nicer, a nice little sort of design hack is to actually put the center of both the inner and the outer circles or border radiuses in the same spot. So how do you do that? Is you calculate the difference between or the distance between this box and the outer box, and you add that to the border radius. So maybe I should draw this out. Is that making sense, or do I need to draw this? I'll draw it anyway. This will be a fun little exercise. Yeah. So let's go. We'll turn this guy off, and we'll go full camera, you and me. Okay. So right now we have two border radiuses, one inside of the other, and they're both 4 pixels. I can't even see, right? They're both 4 pixels. Disregard my terrible writing. But in order to get these to look the same, or look kind of nicer, what we can do is the effect that we want is this, where it looks like this is kind of like both of these arcs are along the same circle or share the same center. So that's 4 pixels. That's a 4 pixel border radius, and I've highlighted the little center there. So to find the center, or to align that this center of this circle is the same as this circle, we basically want to calculate that same radius. So how do we do that? We just grab the difference between the outer circle radius and the inner circle radius, which corresponds conveniently to the padding in our case. So if we turn the camera back on, or the screen back on, we can say that this is a border radius, right? Border radius of 4 pixels is what we said, right? That's what we've got. And then the container that wraps it, the actual distance corresponds to that padding. So that padding is half a rem, or in this case, padding is what, 8 pixels? Is that not right? Wait, why is my padding different? I don't know, but anyway, we'll say that the padding is 8 pixels, which means in order to get the same center of a circle, we need to add the border radius of the inner circle, or the inner corner, with the padding of the outer circle, or the box, which gives us a border radius of 12. So you can see, if we zoom, and I'm going to try and zoom way in. Maybe too far. There we go. So now you can see that where this arc begins and ends corresponds vertically and horizontally with where the inner arc begins and ends. And I hope that that was a long way of saying that a nice little hack, design hack, to make things look a little bit more cohesive is to, take the inner border radius plus the outer padding to calculate the outer border radius. There's a tip for you. And I'm not a designer, but I picked that up somewhere along the way. So to get that, I think what I need to do is I can undo all this. I can hit save. We can go to our CSS file. We can see where we are calculating our radiuses, which should be right here. We've got radius full, we've got radius 4. We're going to do one for a radius of 12. That should be 0.75 rem. And that should be the difference, or the total of the inner 4 pixel radius with the outer padding, 8 pixel padding. Should give us a radius of 12. So if I go back to my app, where's my app? Where am I doing this? This is a background red. So instead of 4, we'll do 12. 100% clear. Love it. That's a great comment, whether it's sincere or sarcastic. So nice work. Yep. So that's what we want. A little bit fatter, a little bit chunkier. I like that because after all, the appeal is to look like that Pokédex. So now let me ask you this, students, class, if I wanted to change this padding from 8 pixels to 12 pixels, 12 pixels, 16 pixels might be 16 pixels. If I wanted to change this padding from 12 pixels, or from 8 pixels, now let's go to 12 pixels. Yeah. From 8 pixels to 12 pixels, what does the outer border radius need to be if the inner border radius is 4 pixels. And people that are just coming onto the stream are like, what? But let's see who's going to be the first. I'm trying to calculate the new border radius for this outer corner here. I want to see who actually followed along and got that. You're here. You're here to chill. Well, you know, you can sit in the back of the class and throw spit wads at the ceiling. Or did any of you ever take a pencil and try and flick it up onto the roof so that it sticks? You know what? I'm not gonna admit or deny that I behaved in any activity like that when I was in school. But yeah, good answer, everyone. The answer is the radius should be 16 if we wanted a padding. Yes, that's right. If we wanted the 16 padding, but we're going with 12. So correct math. I had changed up the values on you though. So I want to support 12 pixels of padding and 16 pixels. All right. 16 pixels of radius. So I'm going to change this to 16. We're going to go to 1 rem. 8 pixel padding is probably still helpful, so I'm going to leave that in. I mean, you know, A for effort. A for effort, Stone Eagle. I didn't, and in my defense, I didn't see Brent or Kotin miss that beat, so, you know, can't say it's entirely on me. So 8, 12, 16, and then 4 and 16. That's good. Let's look at what we've got. Refresh. We have something that looks pretty dang good. If you zoom in, you can see again that arc, like both of those arcs follow each other, and it just looks, in my opinion, it just looks a lot more like that's how real world products are shaped. You know, the radiuses kind of follow each other. All right, so that's what we've got. At least I come with the answer before you tell it. Yeah, well. Okay. I didn't change it up on you. We had it right. Okay. I want to get some blue in this app. So here's another question I have is, would it be too much to say that this main thing is going to have a background of var, what is it, like a blue? Here's our default. That feels like a bit much, doesn't it? Or I was also thinking the background could maybe be like a gradient. No. What did I do? There we go. Is like a linear gradient. Probably not 45 degrees. We're going to go with var dash dash, what is it? Blue default to, oh, that's kind of cool. It's like blue to black. Or we could go to var dash dash blue. I think I have a 900 in there. Like something like that. How do we feel about gradients versus more flat design? Also, why is this not showing up the background image? Oh, because it's on a z-index -1. That might be a problem. Yeah, I guess we don't need that anymore. I'm going to do that. So let's find that z-index. Don't need you. We'll get rid of that and hit save. So what do y'all think about this blue behind everything? Is that that's all right, right? Oh shit. That doesn't look right. I've broken my thing. I definitely broke something. Awesome. So in my attempts to be clever and thinking that I fixed this thing, I actually made it worse. Yeah, just the string object is the most helpful debugging tool ever. Where are we? Computed options. So let me just see. I feel like if the so yeah, value label class. Okay. The for in, for of always gets me though. Yeah, you know how I remember the difference between for in and for of? Because I'm smart. No, I'm just kidding. I always remember that, and this is probably going to be just as confusing, but for of, the of starts with an O, which should not go with object. There you go. Problem solved. Yes. The for of starts with an O, which also object starts with an O, and those do not go together, which I totally feel the pain of that being confusing, but that's how I remember it. So why is this not working, right? Like this should be, which one is not working first of all? Yeah, that's all my Pokemon. That's great. This is label status. Value is status. That shouldn't be like that. All right, I'll come back to this. I'm gonna get this revert this back so at least it's how it was working before, so we don't get too distracted by that. And let's see, I wanted to see how this background color should be. So I'm kind of torn. I think it should either be let's go to like the body here, and I'm feeling like it should either be background of white or like an off-white. Like maybe EEE is usually pretty good. Oh man, semis. That can be misconstrued. I'm not gonna say any more because once again, we've been over this earlier. But all I'm gonna say is giving someone crap on their semis can be misconstrued, and I would rather not people be spreading slander about me. So color here, let's say the color is going to be black, right? So we could work, oops, that's not how you do it, black. We could work with something like this where the background is like an off-white, or we can do something where the background is based on one of the variables that we have. I'm thinking probably one of the blues. I guess it could be one of the reds. What are the other reds? Yeah, we could get like a Pokemon-ish red going on. Even CSS wants them. Yeah, see, I mean, I got, man, again, I got no problem with semicolons. And, that was me losing right there. I know that you're just trying to get under my skin. And by making a comment about your comments, I know that I've just lost. So what do you think? It's still really ugly. I'm gonna go with a gradient. We're going with a gradient. When in doubt, gradient out. So I don't want to do well. I know I'm jumping between atomic CSS classes and other syntaxes. In this case, I don't think that we're going to reuse this gradient at any point. So I'm just going to write it into the no, I'm going to write it at the app level. So we're going to say in this main component, this is going to be the app-main. And I'm going to say that app-main is going to have a background of a linear gradient. Don't need to write to bottom because that's the default behavior. And we're going to use some of our CSS variables of var -- blue. Well, we'll say blue 500 to var blue 900, I think. Let's see, that is a little bit greater of a gradient than I need. So let's go with 800. And that's pretty good. Man, I'm so bad at design. I don't know why I'm telling people design advice. I can come at you with like the technical tips on how to do design stuff or the technical advice on architecting around design tokens. But when it comes to actually designing something, oof. Unless I use stylus or Sass. Oh, the semicolons thing? Yeah. Okay, I do need to fix this. This is obviously a problem. So let me go and fix that really quick. My settings form, the opponent should now be using, instead of v input, we want to be using the app input component. And same with the trainer. Cool. Those are all sorted. Use Edge, you can link the page to the folder and it should save your CSS. Yeah, that's always been something that I've thought was really cool, but I never did because, I don't know, maybe lazy, maybe kind of afraid of it or turned off by it or something. Okay, we have one more thing I need to do here. I need to put some space below these inputs, and the first one has it, but I think I need to try this. Yeah, it's supposed to be, I mean, it sounds really cool. Okay, what do I need? Scene. We have an issue going on here where we are putting this margin bottom or margin block end 16 at the end of each input component, which is fine for the ones in between and actually is not working for some reason. Because I accidentally removed something off of here. That's right. My class needs to have also in here attrs.class. There we go. Yep. Okay. Now my classes are working. So all of my components have this like spacing of 16, padding 16 on the bottom. But my scene component also has it on the last input, which it should not have. It should just have it on the field set. That means, yep, we've got that space at the bottom, and then all of these other ones also have that space at the bottom. And my radio input looks like it has it when it should not need it. So let's go to the trainer. It should not have this. Or it, ooh. We have a bug there where this one needs an extra bug fix of classes equals an object where the root has the class of margin bottom, margin block end 16. There we go. Now we've got that space underneath. Okay. It looks like we have some new folks in the chat right now. Does anyone want to say hey? Anyone have questions about what we're working on? We're kind of building this. I mean, this show is really mostly me fiddling around with building this battle thing, while other members in the chat just talk crap and try and get me all worked up about how I write code for some reason. In a nice and playful way, though, I gotta say. Great folks in the chat, but quite liberal with their crap giving. No one's stepping up. Okay, so next thing I want to do, next thing that I feel competent enough to actually share information about that would be potentially helpful for your application, unless you're building a Pokemon battle thing. This is going to be a handy little trick. How many of you have seen inputs, like radio inputs like this, that are using like custom UIs? Lurkers be lurkers. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry for calling you a turd, Stony Eagle. I meant it in the best possible way, if that means anything. Like, as a compliment, mostly. So, yeah. Have you ever seen, like, radio inputs? Let me see. Custom radio input. And you'll see that is... yeah, have you ever seen this in a web app? Custom CSS radio input. So you'll see things like this, right? Like this is a UI that you don't get in the browser. And you may see people kind of rebuild this with divs, or maybe you've done something like this yourself. I'm going to show you how I like to do it in a way that is accessible and still gets all of the benefits that you have from native inputs, such as keyboard navigation, using arrows, using, well, up and down arrows, left and right arrows, and all of that. CSS CB radio. Nice. Yeah, we can do that. What I want to do is open up my custom app input component. This is where we're going to put in all of the custom CSS. And in this case, what I can do is, let me see. What I want to do is give this input a way of hiding it. Basically hide this default input. Yeah. No, same here. I don't take it personally. Actually, what we're going to do is set this to appearance none, I think. In which case, it's still in the flow. It's still in the flow of the document. Yeah. Okay. And then we're going to say border none, or border 0, I guess. So that effectively like visually hides it. And then let me copy this. So what we can do, I need the actual input for this. So we're going to go here and say we want some custom rules, custom CSS for this, but we only want it for radios. So we can go up to this parent, the wrapper element, and say when we're on a radio, then that's the only time we want these rules to apply. So we're going to say, when we have a radio input, we want to grab the actual input element and say appearance is none and border is 0. And then we're going to do one more thing. And we're going to say the before element or pseudo element is going to have a content defined. Put in those sweet semicolons. Fix your bugs in your Twitch browser extension and tidied up the code. You mean while you're watching this? You're watching something, or you're doing something else while you're watching? That's cool. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, but that's all right. So we're gonna say it's give it some stuff to work with. Now we still can't see it, so we probably want to give it a width and a height. Although, width and height should be fine. Yeah. We could also do the logical properties and do inline block size and what is it? Inline block size and block size and inline size. But we won't do that. We're going to do width and height, set that to 1 rem, and then we're going to come here and give this, border radius is 50%. That's fine. But we want to give it a border of like, say 1 pixel solid. Okay, so now we have effectively added little circles to the page. So we've put these little circles on the page, which is great. And let's see, it's got some padding on it. Where's that padding coming from? Border padding 0. There we go. Padding of 0. Okay, now we've put it on the page. Now we have to actually add styles for when it is selected or not. So if I come here, I can highlight it, which is, again, pretty nice that we're using, because we're using native input elements and just setting the appearance to none, we can select it just fine. I think, does it have some margin on it as well? It does, but that's fine. Okay. Anyway, to give it a style when it's checked, we probably want to fill it in. So we're going to say this on the radio element, on the input within it, and when that element is checked, the before pseudo element will now have whatever content we want. So in this case, maybe I'm just going to say background is, we'll say like current color. So now when it's selected, we can see that it should be white. If I go to the other one, we can see that we're toggling between the two. Pretty handy. And what can I do to actually make this look a little bit nicer? So now I want to get it to sort of match. I want to get it to sort of match. And let's see, I've got yellow border. I think I want it to be this blue color, right? So we're going to say var -- color highlight. So the highlight, I guess the highlight is yellow. No, I want it to be blue. We highlight our color secondary. There we go. Because I don't want it to be that. I don't want it to be that yellow because we actually are going to do a little bit of fancy stuff to make it look a little nicer. In the meantime, though, I need to match my little border color. So right now we have border 1 pixel. We need to match that to the other border, the other inputs. So we're going to do 0.125 rem matches the width. And then the color is our highlight color, I believe. Whoop. So there we go. Now it's a whatever, yellow border. We probably want it to match this as well. So we need a white background. Background is just white. Cool. Now I can select it and it turns to blue, which is fine. I think the one thing that I want to accomplish though is I really like the effect where you get this sort of, I don't know, it looks like a little floating element within that, which we could do with another pseudo element with the after pseudo element. But all right, let's see this. Let's see this. Take a little break to check out Stony Eagle's Twitch tools because, it's a community and we got to support each other. We have to support each other. Let's not forget that. It's a community. Okay, so Twitch tools by Stony Eagle. Move Twitch chat to the left side of your screen. All right. Oh, okay, I see. It basically it like mirrors, so it moves the follow channel stuff over to the right, chat over the left. Why did you want that? I don't have a problem with the chat being on the right most of the time. Download the Git and use it in Brave. I think you're just trying to get me to download untrusted extensions and install it onto my computer. Hey, Koten, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I hope that this custom radio stuff was interesting. And actually, I got you. See, forms, style. Since you got to head out early, I would recommend checking out this styling blog post I wrote. I'll post this in the chat really quick. Let me see if you all get that all right. But there's some tips in here on how to style all of the native inputs to do like custom design as much as you can instead of the defaults. Anyway, I won't look through it. I shared it. Y'all can check it out. But these custom radio and checkbox and radio stuff is in here, so you can see. You can play around with it. But that's basically what we're doing. But got it. Yeah. So, yeah, Matt. Yes. If you take away anything from my streams, it's that I'm a master styler. After all, in case it wasn't completely obvious by the styles I've put on this page. Okay, so what I want to get to is the effect where instead of having like a solid blue dot, maybe we have like a little floating blue dot, right? So how do I do that? I think what I can do is instead of, I could do the background color. Basically what I'm going to do is a box shadow. If I go for master, there's only one, and that's our king. I can only imagine where you're taking that, and I don't know if I want to. I'm not gonna throw you a bone on that one. No, I don't know. Okay, so it's an actual like safe context to share. The way the device defaults. Yeah, OpenUI is cool. Being able to style forms, like there's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pike, or pipe about styling, like being able to provide custom styles for native forms. It's a pain. It's a pain in the butt. But anyway, to get this custom style thing working, instead of setting the background color, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a box shadow, and we're going to do an inset box shadow. Whoops. Of I think let's say 2 pixels, or like what do I want? 2 pixels, 2 pixels. I'm just gonna keep writing 2 pixels. Red. Okay, that's kind of what I want. Doesn't follow. I don't follow Kevin Powell. Who is Kevin Powell? Hey, give me a break. I'm still getting started on this whole stuff, you know. So let's see. Right, this is the spread, and this is this is the width. Kevin Powell has been declared the king of CSS by the community, and he doesn't like it, so I tease him with it. Okay. I'm going to go follow him right now. That sounds like a fun community. Is it Kevin Powell CSS? $8,000 followers. I am following Kevin Powell, but I like never see his stream on when I'm on. What time does he usually stream? Hey, Charlie Devs, what's going on? Oh, what's up, Starberry? We're doing some CSS stuff today. We're building this Pokemon thing. Let's see if let's see. He streams Monday morning, 7 a.m. Oof. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make that, but I will check it out on YouTube. But what's up, y'all? Have y'all been on the stream before? I know. Never mind Stony Eagle and B1 Mind. They are the rowdy rambunctious duo, just here to make sure that I don't get my ego too big. Very important responsibility. But yeah, we are working on this like Pokemon battle scene trainer. In case you haven't been here, eating dinner and won your first game jam with your team. First time here. Wait, you won your first game jam? Which game? I hope I'm not giving off the impression that we're actually playing games on this show. I mean, different types of games, and we're not building games either. We are building, this is actually going to be a social media banner generator. So if you go to Twitter, you can see an example on my profile where you can kind of build out this banner that sort of looks like you're one of the Pokemon fighting whatever else. And we've got it here. Let me see. Got some sound effects tied to it. So if I pause my music, y'all can see. Yeah, so you can set the scene, you can change the size, you can change the location to water, mountain, you can change the time of day, and then when you're happy with something, you can go to the opponent and you can choose one of the previous Pokemon, or you can, what is Sprite? Oh no, That's broken. That should not be like that. Well, anyway. Oh, Stony Eagle, you're a charmer. Uh, you give me some slack and I give you beef. No, no, no. I think you do a wonderful job of keeping me on my toes. It's great. School project, games for good, hosted the jam, and you won out of 19 entries. That's awesome. Wait, so that's 19 entries, but how many people are on each team? Because that's got to be 19 entries. If there's like 5 people on each team, that's like 100 people. So that's awesome. Is there somewhere that we can check it out online? Because that would be cool. We could even play it. There are 5 on your team. Well, that's really awesome. Congratulations. How long did you have to do it, to put it together? I'm gonna say, here's what I'm gonna do for you. The opponent is going to be called oh man, yeah, I totally broke all of the other inputs in my app. Done in 2 days? It's a bit scuffed. But you're so proud of everyone. Yes, you should absolutely be proud of that. I've done some hackathons that are like just over the weekend, kind of like this, and it's a success even just to get to like a finished working product. Yeah, if you want to throw on some itch links, post it. We'll check it out. And we're gonna say on the trainer, we're gonna say Grats Starberry. That is not can't spell berry. And yeah, so if you wanted, you could do something like this and then generate a banner. And there's a typo in my code somewhere. Primary one is not a type element. That makes sense. Anyway, it's broken right now. So, but that would generate a banner image you could use. So let's see what you've got over here, though. I want to check this out. Soup. Service offered to underprivileged people. That is awesome. I love a good name and a good pun. And I think any successful project needs a name. Like you really need to put in some time thinking about the name. Okay, so let's see. Games for good. Man, you did this in 2 days. I don't think I could even do this one page in 2 days. That's awesome. You're sweating buckets. You did the art? Oh my goodness. I was even thinking I couldn't do this in 2 days if I went online and just like looked for this art to, you know, download somewhere, let alone make it, let alone make a functioning game around it. Doesn't it? 2 days. I almost don't believe it. I think we have I think we've got someone on our stream that just is trying to impress us. This is like 2 months. Wow. They even got a working app without any Unity experience. Well, that says a lot for Unity as well. What is this? It was Games for Good. My game's for good. I don't think that's it. Is this it? This doesn't look quite right. Okay, well, I might check this out a bit later and actually play it. Sony Eagle. What is this YouTube link? Oh, the CSS King. Okay. I'll have to check that out soon. Okay. So I might check this game out after the show and take a look because I'm impressed. I'm only going to be on here for about 20 more minutes or so. So I want to get this radio thing fixed. I also feel really bad because in fixing one problem with my inputs, I've effectively broken all of them. So, quick question too, Starberry, are you in the web development space, or because this is more of a web development show, so I don't know how interesting this is going to be if you're not, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely room in web for designers that know what they're doing, and clearly you got something. You're more into game dev, but you like Pokemon. Yeah, so this isn't quite game dev like I was saying. This was mostly I'm on Twitter and I wanted a clever way to build banner images that look like I was fighting a Pokemon because Twitter has this sort of avatar that overlays the banner. So okay, thank you. Thank you, Stony Eagle. You're right. This is going to be the most interesting thing you've seen all day, maybe all week. So it sucks because it's a Monday. So the rest of the week is not looking great. Sorry. But yeah, it's used to generate banner images, and we're just building it. So we're web developers. Uh, and we are, man, you guys are so sweet. We're web developers and we're building this UI in the style of Pokemon because, after all, that's what inspired it. And yeah, so far it's good. We're having fun building it. And I'm trying to share some of the web development knowledge that I've picked up along the way so that folks might find it interesting and learn a thing or two. So, where were we? I'm going to continue. Not for how 90s it looks. I can give you crap for not using semis. Yeah, it looks well, I'll put it this way. I feel pretty good about my web development technical skills. I wouldn't trust myself with designing anything. So the fact that yeah, it looks 90s almost gives it a sort of charm. But it's definitely not the most polished thing you've ever seen. You may want to, squirt some soap into your eyes after the end of this stream. But the trick that I was sharing was instead of using this background color, we can actually do a number of different things. We can do a box shadow with an inset, and that accomplishes having this little white dot in there. Although, what I'm trying to accomplish is actually the opposite, where I would want the white to be the ring on the outside, and then the dot to be the blue color. So I think what I'm going to actually go with is, instead of a box shadow, we're going to go back to doing a background. But we are going to go with a radial gradient that is black and transparent. That's not quite what I want. I think I want it, yeah, black in the middle, transparent on the outside, but I don't want black. I want the color to be our variable of color secondary. Okay, so now we've got a radial gradient that goes from the center to the border, and it is a gradient that slowly turns from blue to transparent. Almost there. Because what we can do is actually say, I think at 0, as far as the process goes, you can go from 0 to 100%. And I think my camera died again. So you can go from 0 to 100%. So we're going to start at 0. Then we're going to go use the same color and apply that color at, let's say, 70%. And have that same color. Did I have that syntax wrong? Is it, should I go after? Yeah, that goes after. And then at 70%, once again, we're going to have transparent. But instead of transitioning from 70% to 100% transparent, we're going to go at 70%. I feel like I'm not really seeing this. So maybe this needs to be like green so I can really see it. Oh, it is not working for me. Color 0% to 70%. I caught your attention on the Pokemon banner that I generated from the input. I'm not sure what you mean. So why is this radial gradient not working? Let me see. CSS radial gradient with stops. I want something that has like a hard stop. So circle 80 pixels. Okay. Change the Pokemon from the drop down. Okay, so if I go to the opponent and I say that, I still love the sound effects. Is that what you're talking about? I changed the image on the banner. Oh, that's what I got you? That's how I got you? Yeah. It's cool. It's nothing too fancy. What it is a bunch of images. So there's an image for the background, and then there's an image for there's 2 images for the Pokemon, one for the little base that he's standing on and one for the Pokemon itself. And then there's one image for the base under the trainer side. And then they're just like absolute positioned in the right spot. So radial gradients with stops. There should be farther corner. Okay, so that is the syntax, percentage after. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fun. You know what I need to do in this stream soon is actually deploy this so that even if it's not finished and we're working on stuff, other folks can start like playing around with it because it's one of the things. Yeah, takes you back. It's one of the things that's just like too cool to not share publicly. Okay, so I need this radial gradient to work. Under trainer, I've got it there. Maybe it's because I'm doing the percentages too high. That's probably what it is. Where's my input? There's my input. I go to the before pseudo element. Let's bring this 70% like way down. Okay. Okay. We've got some progress here. We're going to go the same color. Here's the trick. Okay, let's just go 10%. And then instead of green, we're going to go back to transparent. Oh, yes. Okay, I've got it working now. That should also be at 10%. And now it's working. Except instead of transparent, it needs to be white. Okay, cool. Problem solved. Hey, what am I coding? Well, we are building a we're building a banner builder. So this is like supposed to look like a Pokemon battle scene, in case that wasn't obvious. And you can do things like modify the scene with the width, the height, the location. So you can say, I want to be fighting on sand. And then you can change the time of day. And then change stuff about the Pokemon that you're fighting. And eventually, actually, I had it working, although it's broken right now. But this, you should be able to upload your own file so that you can put whatever image you want there. And you can change some things. You can change some things about your sort of trainer side of the battle, and eventually, yeah, you hit that generate banner. It downloads an image for you onto your computer, and you can upload it. And it's designed so that this little avatar section here mimics what you see on Twitter, so that when you design this, you can upload the final image onto Twitter, and it looks like you're fighting whatever you want. So it's kind of fun. A silly way to experiment with web development technologies and learn a thing or two. For example, am I zoomed in? Yeah, let's zoom out. For example, what I just accomplished was what I was trying to do this whole time is this little before pseudo element. We want to, when it's selected, we want that little dot to be there. And we can accomplish that with with what? Ah, that's right. I need to put you in there. Oh, I totally will. Give me one. I can't do it right now because I accidentally broke the file upload, but we will totally put you in there. That's why you sent me your image the other day. Now I understand. Now it's clicking. Okay, so if this was not active or selected, it should be if it's checked, right? That's all right. Anyway, problem solved. I need this background. When this thing is checked, instead of being a normal background, yeah, you're probably right. This is going to be a radial gradient. I don't think we need to say that it's a circle because it's going to be a circle. And then radial gradients start from the inside and work their way to the outside. And we don't need percentages for the first stop. And in order for them not to transition colors to maintain the same color, we list the color twice. So at the beginning of the transition and technically at the end of the transition. And because we're using the same color, we don't actually need to, we won't transition. We also want to use our secondary color here. We don't want this to go 100%. We want this to probably go like 30%. And then from 30%, next color is we want to go from white. So we want these to be at the same spot so that instead of having a transition, they're just like a solid break in between the two. And then we don't have to define the end because it will just default to whatever the end is. So that's how we get this little dot on there with a single pseudo element. And when it's selected, we can see it's selected. I'm actually going to make that like a 30, maybe like a 40%. So now we have successfully built. There is no CSS selector. So why the heck did they make us use var? Yeah, I don't know. That was, well, yeah, like why do I need this and why can't I just do the dash dash? That also raises the question, why do I need the dash dash? I really don't know, but I'm still grateful to the CSS gods for providing that for us. So now we can see the nice thing about doing things this way, go away, please go away, thank you, is we're using semantically a correct input. So anyone that's coming here using assistive technology will have the correct experience. Also, anyone coming here relying on the keyboard is still getting the same effect. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that overall. So anyone have any other questions about that? Because I don't think I'm going to have enough time to do anything significant, anything else significant, although I probably could look into why the heck my, oh, I know, I think I know why it's broken. Main.js, no, we're going to go to the app input. No, we're going to go to the V input, and we need to go down to the actual input and say the type. Hate that type. There we go. There's my bug fix. Now we should see, yep, everything is fixed. Everything is working as expected. We'll zoom back out and we'll see Stony Eagle. We have your little PNG. To save that, we're going to go back to our app. Stony Eagle, where do you want to do this? Where do you want to fight? Grass, sand, water, mountain, forest, cave? I'll take you any location, any time of day. Let's make this happen. I think last time I gave you your Twitch avatar hosted by Twitch. Yeah. Oh, so this is yeah, this is off of I can see now where the Stony comes from. Yeah, it's much more obvious in this image. NoMercy.tv. Got it. So what are we doing this? Eagle belongs in the air, so I call mountains. That's what I was thinking too. Do you have a preference on time of day? So we're in the mountains now. I'm thinking afternoon, high noon, right? Like Clint Eastwood. Wow, wow, wow. All right. The opponent is going to be, no, we don't need to use a pre-selected Pokemon. We're going to choose a file. Take this. Stony Eagle. Congratulations. That's officially your new sound effect. This is going to be lovely sign. Ew. Lurking, yes. So Stony Eagle, wouldn't want to get that wrong. This time Brent gets to choose where we're putting the health of each. We'll see where the alliances are, or maybe I should flip it. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to do some JavaScript. After all, this is a JavaScript show or a web development show. So I'm in here. We're going to randomly select your health. And I'm going to do it here and then just set it manually. But we're going to say math.random times, what is it, 100? It's math.random times 100, I think. Yeah. Okay. Here it is. Stony Eagle's health, 17. Oof. Not looking good. Somewhere around there. Then we're going to go to the trainer and say, I'm going to say trainer is Austin, or hey, Austin Gill. Hey, Austin Gill's health, 27. It was a pretty well fought battle. And it's not over, in fact. But let's do that. Generate the results. Oh, man, I still can't get it. What's going on here? Get computed style. Parameter 1. Try to get style of element. So that is just slightly broken in app.js, I think, or app.vue, where I actually generate the results. So in settings form, no, here we go. Okay, Poke Center, that's working fine. When we submit, we are saying get element by ID is preview. That's probably the problem, is we removed the element from our preview. App.preview, sure enough, it's gone. Okay. ID equals preview, good enough. I think there's probably a better way to do that so that we wouldn't be having the confusion of an ID being written in one component and then that ID being referenced from another component, because obviously that means that there's confusion when that happens. But regardless, I think if I hit this now, we get it working. It references the ID. We save that. We look at it. There's my new banner image. I'm going to head over to Twitter on a different screen that y'all can't see and edit my profile, change my image, upload it, and hit save. And just like that, that's my new banner image. It's so cool. Oh, this is great. You know what? That's probably what I should work on, is getting this public so everyone else can start having fun like me. Cool. Well, I think that's going to be it for the show today, because we hit a good stopping point. We learned a thing or two about custom inputs, and having these checked things, values on it. Note that the border that I have when I select it, that's actually coming from a different library, or like my sort of CSS reset. So yeah, I don't know, that could be a little bit tighter, or we could modify that a different way. If we wanted, we could say, well, if we wanted, what we could do is say, let's see, close that, close that, close that, close that. The input, we can close app input. So if we wanted, what we could say is, one thing that's annoying about radio inputs is that when you yeah, I'll at you on that. When you select a radio input, you can see that the square, or the outline around it, is square, and there's nothing you can do about that. At least today, you're going to have square outlines no matter what. Now, what you can do is you could get rid of the outline. So you could say, let's see, on my radio input, I want to have this outline of 0, right? So then every time yeah, I guess we'd have to add a rule. Is everything everything that's focused, it's an outline of 0. It's a bad practice. Focused. Hey, what, am I crazy? Isn't it focus? yeah, Brandon, if you want to go live, I'll raid you after. But I want to get this out before I take off. So let's see. Maybe it's not outline 0, it's outline none. Nope. Focused. I'm just embarrassing myself. Anyway, what you could do is say, on this input right now, when it's focused, it's focused. Why am I going crazy? And why can't I select this? Oh, because that's okay. So on this input, you can give it a focus state, right? And when it's focused, you get this sort of square box around it. So what you can do is add a new rule that says when my input with a type of equal to radio has focus, we're going to say outline is 0. Oh, I know. It's because I think I set the outline to something as important. So you can say that it has outline of 0, and that is important. None. Broken. Nope. Never mind. I know I was broken. It's because my other CSS actually does that. So yes, what you can do is if it has a focus right now, it has a focus ring, which you can't see because the focus ring is like on this red, so you can't really see it. But what you could do is say on this before, oh, this is just so difficult to explain. On this before, let's add a new rule that says when the input has focus, we want to select the before tag and give this itself is going to have, if we do an outline, that's going to be an outline of like, let's say 5 pixel solid green, right? So if I select it now, it will get the round outline. All right, just forget what I was going to say because apparently I'm losing it. I thought that was going to be square. Well, you can't do it with radio inputs, I suppose, because when the radio input has an outline, let's see, outline 4 pixel solid green, you can see that the radio input is square. And if we were to not have this appearance none, you would still see that it's a little circle. Let's see. Get rid of this before. You can see that it's a little square around a little circle, which is really annoying. So one way to solve that is to use this custom before attribute or this before pseudo element so that you get these custom radio inputs. Let's see, let's back out. So you get these custom radio inputs that are round. And then you can say, hey, when my input receives focus, we'll add a little rule that says when a input, oops, should not have that on. Should probably not have been able to see that either. Disregard that, people. You need to turn this off really quick. Okay, let's go back here and let's say when this radio or when this input receives focus, so input with a type equal to radio, when it receives focus, I also want to get the before element and I want to give the focus state onto that instead of the input itself. So we can say outline is whatever, 4 pixel solid. I guess in our case, we can use this variable of dash dash color dash highlight. So that when I focus on my inputs, we do get that yellow because I use highlight instead of secondary. Secondary should be the blue color. And, oh, nope, that was incorrect as well. Order should be color highlight. The rule that we just added, where this gets a focus state and our input should be color of secondary. There we go. As we change focus, we can see that the input, the before pseudo element gets the focus or gets that outline around it. Now all we need to do is say, hey, on the input itself, let's say add a new rule that says, sure, any input with a type equal to radio, and it receives focus. It's going to have outline of 0. And in our case, it also has this box shadow because of our like a CSS reset library that we're using. So I'll just turn that off. And now we can see that the outline follows the border. Let me turn this off. There we go. The outline follows the border radius of the input itself, which is kind of nice. So that's all I wanted to share before the end of the show. So HTML inputs are so effed up to work with. That's why you chose Material UI for your app. Yeah. I don't personally like Material UI. I think, well, I guess that's the thing. If you like Material UI and you want it to look like that, it can look really great, and everything is already built for you and very cohesive designs. So certainly hits the ground running. Looks better than what I'm working with today. So nothing against that, but I just don't like that everything ended up looking like a Google product when you use Material UI, and it's really hard to customize. But if you want actual like very specific custom things, yeah, native HTML inputs are kind of tough to work with. It's worth it to understand. There is that article that I shared earlier that I think that I wrote and I think is worth checking out. Yeah, Bootstrap. I mean, I like Bootstrap. I personally think I like Bootstrap more than Material. I think it has, I don't know, I guess just because it's not so googly flavored. But yeah, I usually will actually just roll my own custom UIs, and it's really hard actually because what we're doing here, there's an interesting approach that I have on my sort of reset here. So if you see, there's like this outline color that's a few pixels around each one of these that has focused. So when an input here has focus, it actually gets, go away. It actually gets a couple of styles. So it gets this outline. It gets a transparent outline. Because if I don't turn that off, then you get like the default outline color. So let's turn this box shadow off. Man, it's really hard to see because I have such strong colors here. So let's see. Let's do. There you go. Let's turn that off. Oh, God, then I have another strong color. Anyway, the trick that I wanted to show off is, or the thing that I want to point out that's worth considering is probably you all know that you just should not get rid of outline colors because then users that rely on keyboards to navigate around can't see where they are when they've highlighted an input. So having an outline shows where you are. And it's very handy as you go through an application, right? So we want that. In this case, this input is kind of funny, or this style is kind of funny because when this input receives focus, we actually do remove the input or the outline in a different way. We set the outline to be a solid transparent color, which you would say, well, what's the point of that? Then you effectively can't see it. Well, we return the outline by using a box shadow. So the box shadow will sort of hug the corners, like I was saying before, keeps it nice and tight. But if I say this is outline 2 pixels solid, yeah, it's weird. I think maybe that only used to be a problem and is no longer a problem. But back to the point. The point at hand is you can use a box shadow. That's going to hug the corners a little bit nicely on some elements. You can use this special keyword in CSS called highlight, and that's going to be the default focus ring color for whatever browser you're in. So if you're in Chrome or a Chrome-based browser, it's kind of a blue color. If you're in like Firefox on Ubuntu, I think it's an orange color. But The other important thing to account for is if you're adding outlines with box shadow and they are required to show focus state, that's not going to be good enough if you're talking about supporting, well, if you want to build for accessibility. The reason is if you get rid of the outline and only use box shadow to signify where focus is, box shadow actually gets removed if you turn on Windows high contrast mode. So Windows high contrast mode, I think I can maybe showcase what that is. High contrast. So I'm on Windows right now. And if I go to enable high contrast mode, give it just 1 minute. Maybe 2 minutes. Maybe 3 minutes. There we go. So if I enable high contrast mode, things actually have trouble with outline. So if I go to this element and I say, hey, your outline is going to be like 5 pixels solid green. Well, once again, I'm being proven wrong on what I was trying to say. But I think in some instances, oh no, sorry, I had that wrong. Box shadow. If I do box shadow of, I think it's could be like 0, 0, what is it, 5, 0, and then 5 pixels red. This should actually have like a shadow that comes out 5 pixels from the element. But because we're on high contrast mode, that box shadow doesn't actually show up. Whereas if you use an outline, you actually will see that. And I think even if you set that to transparent, you still see an outline there. So that's really important to keep in mind if you're going to rely on box shadows to signify when something has focus. And once again, give me a minute while I transition out of high contrast mode. So what I do here is on the element that we were looking at just a moment ago, we do both. We remove the outline because that's more difficult to work with, but we still keep it around for high contrast mode by setting it as a transparent color. So visually, in most cases, you're not going to see it. And visually, in most cases, you can fall back to the box shadow. In high contrast mode, where box shadow is going to fail, because you have a transparent outline, that will actually be picked up by the operating system. So that's pretty handy if you ask me. Hopefully that was interesting and worth sharing. Okay, let me get back to the chat. Stony Eagle, you had some comments. Let's see. Google is only on Google. Bootstrap is everywhere. Yeah, but if you use Material UI everywhere, then it's effectively everywhere as well. Bootstrap is training wheels when learning front end. You got some spicy takes. It's great and very good to make a working website quick. But customizing, yeah, that was one thing that I wasn't such a fan with on Bootstrap, was customizing it. But I have that same problem with Material UI. So, let's see, I got this shit in the pocket. Yeah, no, I just focused for a while, but now I have a moment to come back and chat with you. You know. That's all we're going to get to today, I think. So I think Brent, he probably should be on at this point. So let's see if we can. Oh, did he not come on? No, Brent's still watching me. Brent, are you not coming on? Come on. I'm trying to raid you. Yeah, I got some things to fix. Do I have some things to fix? No, I think we fixed everything, right? All the inputs are working correctly besides this blowing out because of the file input. But it works okay if I have the screen big enough. No stream today. You skipped. All right. Well, in that case, I think I'm going to send some folks over to raid Learn with Leon because he is the one, he's the he is running the 100 devs thing, and He's one of 2 people that I follow that are streaming at the moment. So I'm going to go check it out. Thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate the feedback and insights that y'all are sharing. Stony Eagle, really appreciate the comments. I know that we go back and forth with our 1-2s, but it's great having you around. I am having fun with the crap that you give me. So I hope it's mutual. Anyway, let's do this. Let's go and raid. Turn with Leon. And yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. So I'll catch you then. See ya.
He's like, oh, Kevin knows what he's doing with CSS. So if he wins, I just look silly, but if he loses, it's like, oh, Kevin's the king of CSS.
For some reason, I decided to challenge Kevin Powell, who's literally the king of CSS, to a CSS battle. Am I going to lose? Probably. But is it going to be fun? You betcha. The rules are pretty simple. All we're going to do is try to complete the CSS battle that we're given in 10 minutes or less. The very first person to complete it 100% wins, and if we both run out of time, whoever's the closest to 100% at the end of the time is the winner.
Just in case you don't know me, my name is Kevin, and I'm really looking forward to this. Kyle challenged me to this CSS battle, and I'm really looking forward to it. I really enjoy CSS, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest. I feel like Kyle has nothing to lose on this. He's like, oh, Kevin knows what he's doing with CSS. So if he wins, I just look silly, but if he loses, he's like, oh, Kevin's the king of CSS. Of course I was going to lose. So I'm a little bit nervous about this, but hopefully it goes well. Hopefully I crush him. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's start the timer and let's go. This one I think will be not too bad. For it, we need 3 divs, and each one of those will be a triangle. So I think for all of them, we want them all to be the same. And I'm going to leave these comments. Let's get rid of the comments. I'm not worried about the scoring. I'm going to leave the background there, but we're going to set the width to 0 pixels and the height to 0 pixels. And I think you can actually cheat here in this and actually just make it 0, and it still works. And let's do a border. I have to remember how to do an up arrow. Border left, we're going to do, is it, man. Okay, let's just try 100 pixels, solid, transparent. Is it like this? I'm going to screw this up. Border right, and then border, I think the bottom is going to point up. Solid, red. I did get it right. Awesome, super. Okay, I don't use this trick too often, and I always forget how it works. So we don't want the background. It's all based on the border color.
To create a triangle in CSS the easy way, we're going to be using borders for that. It kind of sounds really weird, but I'll just show you. Essentially, we have a border. We want it to be pretty big, essentially as big as we want our thing to be. So we'll say like 50 pixels, solid, and we want it to be transparent, which is going to sound really weird, but we just take one of the sides and give it a color. So border, we'll say left, and we'll give it the color of this, for example. We want this to be the border left color. So now you can see we have these triangles. Obviously, I don't want the left one to be this color. I want the bottom one. That should give us a triangle facing upward. So the border, we'll give it a, also, we don't want this to have any width. So we can say width of 0, 8 of 0. There we go.
Cool. So that is that, except we need it to be a bit wider. And to do the width, is it here that I can do that? 150? I made it taller. It's these ones, 125. Maybe would do it instead. And they need to be the same. That looks pretty close, actually. So I'm happy with that.
Okay, definitely the size of our triangle is way off. We need our triangle to be less big. So we'll do 100 and 100 pixels. And we'll change this to like negative 71, 51. Okay, I see part of our problem. Our triangle needs to actually be wider than, oh, this is kind of a pain. Our triangle needs to be wider than it is tall. I have to think about how to do that. I've gone the wrong direction with creating this.
Yeah, to get them in the middle, I guess what we could do here is we could just say that it's position absolute. Top 50%, left 50%, and then we could do the transform, translate, negative 50%, negative 50% to get them right in the middle. The only problem with that, oh, they're stacked the wrong way. Darn. Okay, well, we can play, that's fine. Translate, so that's that. Okay, I'm going to leave that there, and then we're just going to use the cascade and keep doing it this way. So this one, the first one, the one that needs to go up, negative 40%. Whoops, 40 is this one, 30 maybe, 20. That one needs to go up, we want 60 then, bigger, negative 70. Oh, negative 100. Okay, and then this one, I guess, would be a positive 100. No. 0. No. Negative 20. Negative 10. 20 was... 0 is 2... Oh, wait. That's perfect. Perfect. Okay, I was eyeballing it on the side. That's perfect.
This is just not at all correct. I feel like I should have just gone with boxes on their sides and cut them off. Okay, I pretty much had to scrap this entire plan, unfortunately. This was wrong. I got 4 minutes left to figure this out. So instead of doing all of this junk, no, God! No, God, please, no!
I just need to switch the ordering of them. Now, I would normally just actually fix this a different way, but we're just going to z-index this because it's going to be faster than doing it how, I think the right I'm styling it here. But this one will be 100, and then my last type will be a Z index of -100. And there we go. That looks perfect to me. Let's hit submit. Come on. 100% match. Done. Awesome. That one wasn't too bad at all. Cool. Happy with that. How much time did I have left? 5 minutes left. Yes. Cool. That one was good.
Kevin's going to disrupt me on this one. I'm like at a loss of what I need to do for this for some reason. It's probably really obvious, and for some reason I can't think of the correct technique. Because the triangles I was originally going, these are not, those are correct. They're not like 45-degree triangles. So it's not going to line up properly. We have to do this circle thing over here, essentially. So I know I need inner circle, outer circle, and then just some lines that go through it. So we're going to have two divs. This is going to be our outer circle, and this one is our inner circle. Of course, minus these two, and we have to style that a little bit better. So we're going to have our inner circle, outer background is going to be this mustardy, ugly looking color, and border radius 50%, weight. I think it's 200 pixels. Width is 200 pixels. There we go. We need to center this, so we're just going to use our body.
Does that make sense? Well, we want the parent, or we do, I guess, the background first. Does that make sense? Body. Background is that. Good. And then let's just try with 100% low. I could fix it another way, but translate y -10 pixels. This is where I guess maybe the margins would work a little better. Like -9. Oh man, I'm going to be slightly off on this, aren't I? My shape isn't good. It's not a perfect circle. There's more of an oval.
Okay, so now we're going to do our inner circle, which is technically bigger than the outer circle. I should have named these better. Got this yellow color. Width, we'll say it's direct here.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna try and do first is the yellow ones, and then oh crap. Okay. Wait a second. Extended 10 minutes.
Now we got all of our lines. The only thing left to do is we need to hide the green color in the middle here. We also need to hide our yellow color at the top. So I'm going to wrap our outer in another div, and which we can call this outer wrap. Just put it inside there. We're going to have that outer wrap overflow. That'll hide it perfect. Yeah.
This. The height will be like 80%, and a margin. Oh, you know what? No. Position. I'm gonna have to do position absolute. I think position absolute, which means on this one I want to have a position relative to make that the containing block. Height, and then a width of 200%. But this doesn't matter so much, the width. And then I can do a top. Actually, let's make this 60 maybe. 60.
Oh, actually, because I'm going to have two circles essentially. The left down here.
Oh.
And we'll say
Color. No, that's yellow. Yeah. I know what I want to do now. I really mucked it up though.
the only final step that we have left is to remove the yellow. So that'll be easy. This we need just one wrapper for. Equals IW 50.
Solid and
70. What happened? I'm just going to submit it because I'm out of time. But we'll see how We'll take it.
Let's just add a border for now. My idea here is then I can do a border of this solid and say like, I don't know, 30 pixels, 32 pixels. Do I need to do a box sizing? Is that even box sizing? Border box, is that even gonna fix that? Yeah. There to hide, what was it, 32 pixel, I mean, whatever. And then I need the same thing for my height. And it should be a circle at least. I'm out of time. Not even close. That was a complete disaster.
Okay, circles, we'll say percent. And also to make these all centered on the
Enter.
up here, where this will say width is there. So
Width.
we need to have this background. We need to have a height, but we literally can't tell the difference between these images. What the heck? How am I so far off? I'm just crazy. I'm trying to resubmit that. I cannot see a single difference unless I have like some colors wrong, but colors look the same. Like when I hover over this, maybe it's like slightly inset from where it needs to be. Gosh, that looks close.
Oh. Okay. Okay. You're gonna love me. We have an inner. I'm gonna copy you. Copy that. And inside inner, I'm gonna put an inner. Sure, inner. Which is gonna have this. So inner crown. I don't have pixels. Come on. 100% match. Yes. I honestly didn't know how I was gonna do that one. And my class names are complete mess.
Maybe instead of using Flexbox to center, we'll just try doing. And we won't find it. Hey, we got slightly closer, and it's still wrong. God, this one is killing me because I feel like I'm so close and I know exactly what to do, like the square versus the inner circle and the outer circle, but I'm just off by something that's just slightly different. So we want this to be 50 pixels.
Try and get the same result, but just completely different approaches to it. I think that'd be fun to see. So looking forward to seeing how Kyle did on this and how he did everything.